So, good afternoon, children. In the chapter of landforms, we had studied that the surface of the earth is subjected to two kinds of forces, the endogenic forces and the exogenic forces. The endogenic forces are those forces which arise because of the heat of the interior of the earth, and the exogenic forces they operate on the surface of the earth. So, exogenic forces include the various agents of erosion like the river, the glaciers in the snow-clad mountains, then the sea waves in the coastal areas, the winds in the hot deserts. But in this chapter, we are going to study about the endogenic forces. So endogenic forces are those forces which arise from the interior of the earth, and they are of two types: the diastrophic movements, which are slow, and they include the mountain building forces, the continent building forces. If you remember, we had studied about the vertical and the horizontal movements, the compressional and the tensional movements. So all of those come under diastrophic movements. Then we have the sudden movements. The sudden movements include volcanic eruptions, earthquakes. They happen suddenly and they bring about sudden changes, instant changes on the surface of the earth. So we are going to study about volcanoes. So the first question arises is that what is a volcano? A volcano is a vent in the earth's crust from which fiery hot magma erupts from the earth's interior. So this is a picture of a volcanic eruption which is taking place. Now when the volcanic eruption takes place, the fiery hot lava starts to flow, and if supposing it starts to flow in the nearby areas, often the villages and all, they get submerged. You must have studied a story about the city of Pompeii, which was totally destroyed because of the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. So we'll discuss that later. Now let us see what are the causes of volcanic eruption. The first is the heat and pressure inside the earth. Now we all know that as we move towards the interior, the temperature and pressure starts to increase towards the interior. The rocks are very bad conductors of heat, so the earth's heat does not escape on its own. Instead, it melts the rocks and builds up great pressure. Now the pressure forces the heat to find an escape route through fissures and cracks in the rocks. So that is how the volcanic eruptions take place. And you can compare the volcanic eruption with a pressure cooker. So imagine if in the pressure cooker there was no vent, if there was no safety valve, then the pressure cooker would have exploded. So in the same way, children, both earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are regarded as safety valves of the earth, because from time to time they release the tremendous amount of heat and pressure which is there inside the earth, and they help to keep the earth in a good shape. The second cause is plate tectonics. So most of the volcanic eruptions take place near the plate margins, and we'll be studying this when we study about the location. So the Earth's crust is made up of a series of movable tectonic plates. When these plates slide past each other or collide against each other, then their edges produce faults along the lines of weakness. Now it is along these plate boundaries that the crust is weakened, that is the zone of crustal weakness. And it is through this that the hot magma gushes out, leading to volcanic eruptions. And it is the same forces. It is along the plate boundaries only that we find that the earthquakes are also very common. Now the third cause is the magma chamber. The molten material, while still under the earth's crust, it melts the weak rocks and creates a huge chamber for itself, which is called the magma chamber. So fresh magma continues to pour inside this chamber. So the magma contains silicate material, gases, water vapor. So the pressure starts to act vertically upwards. And once the root is found, meaning wherever there's a crack or a zone of weakness, or a plate boundary, it is through that the molten material starts to eject out. However, all major volcanoes have beneath them a huge magma chamber or a reservoir which is joined to the Earth's surface by a conduit which is known as the volcanic vent. Now let us study about the products of a volcano. So when a volcanic eruption takes place, a number of products like steam, gases, molten rock, dust, ash, liquid and solid material is thrown out. Now first of all, let us see what is the difference between magma and lava. Now the molten rock material, as long as it is inside the earth, it is known as magma. And the moment it reaches the surface of the earth, it is known as lava. Now when the volcanic eruption takes place, as I already told you, a number of gases are ejected out. Steam is the most abundant gas that comes out of a volcano. When steam is ejected in huge quantities, it forms clouds in the atmosphere, resulting in rainfall. The other gases which are given out during a volcanic eruption are hydrogen sulfide, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide and hydrogen. Now children, apart from the gaseous material, some solid fragments are also thrown out during a volcanic eruption. The solid fragments, which are rock pieces, are known as pyroclasts. You can see the picture of the pyroclast. The fine particles are called dust. The dust particles go on increasing in size. The small stone-sized particles are called lapilli. You can see on the right hand side corner, on the bottom side, we have a picture of lapilli. Very violent eruptions are referred to as bombs. Now the rock fragments that a volcano erupts do not originate from the magma chamber, but they are picked up by the magma in the course of its upward movement. Now children, it is also very essential to know about the structure of a volcano. So when the lava flows out through an opening in the earth's crust, which is called a vent. You can see the picture of a vent. The opening is usually like a circular pipe. There may be only one opening at the summit, meaning at the peak. However, subsidiary vents are also formed during repeated eruptions. So in your picture, in your book, you have a picture of subsidiary vents also. Then the next one is the volcanic cone. Now children, this is a picture of the volcanic cone. Now the erupted fluid material, being hot, collects around the vent and begins to cool gradually and solidifies. The accumulation of the accumulation of the material around the vent gives to the volcano its typical cone-like shape, which is known as the volcanic cone. These are actually landforms of a volcano, which we'll be studying later on.